tease out a few aspects that were made or were raised by General Mkhwanazi during the media briefing of the 6th of July with reference to the three pillars of the criminal justice system. The media briefing highlighted in particular, and again at this juncture we need to emphasize the fact that what we are about to refer to, which is going to form the subject matter of this investigation, is approached purely on an impartial basis. The Commission has not formed a view, particularly in these early days, on whether there is truth in the allegations or whether these allegations are false. So in other words, that is the very reason why we have this Commission of Inquiry, to test these allegations. To go back then to the issues that were raised at the media briefing of the 6th of July, and those that are of particular importance that need to be tested is whether the Minister of Police interfered with sensitive police investigations and colluded with business people, including a murder accused, to disband the political killings task team, which is based in KwaZulu-Natal, and whether a Gauteng task team investigation which uncovered a syndicate ran by a drug cartel involving politicians, law enforcement, prosecutors, the judiciary, and business people was affected as a consequence of that alleged interference. And it should not escape any of us that if those allegations are true, they will erode and damage public trust in these very vital and crucial institutions. And for that reason, the truth, or rather the truthfulness of those allegations, needs to be proven, understanding the limited time within which the President has allocated the Commission to undertake its task. We are all aware that the task needs to be performed within a period of 6 months, and the agency is one that all of us can appreciate. The criminal justice system continues to operate while the Commission is ongoing, and the delays will not assist the restoration of that public confidence in those institutions. And it is for that reason that the work of the Commission will be geared to producing a draft report within the first 3 months, as indicated in the terms of reference by the President, and hopefully to finalize the balance within the prescribed period, all things being equal. Then, the one aspect that is important to highlight and emphasize is Section 5 of the South Africa's Commissions Act, number 8 of 1947, which section stipulates that it is a criminal offense to obstruct the work of a commission of inquiry. That is an important aspect because it needs to be understood that the integrity of the investigations need to proceed unhindered. And in this regard, the Act makes it clear that any person who willfully hinders or obstructs a commission in the performance of its functions shall be guilty of an offense and would be liable upon conviction to a fine, imprisonment for up to 6 months, or both. And thus it is important that the Commission, again I stress, operates free of unlawful interference. Then in respect of the approach to the evidence, there are a few key issues that we need to emphasize. The first being that when the Commission investigates the allegations that were made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, the approach, as I've indicated, is that of impartiality, and it is one that presumes no particular outcome. And you will notice that I've been emphasizing this principle because of the heightened interest that the public has in this process. the need for thorough investigations, the need to offer the implicated persons a fair opportunity to respond to these allegations is an integral part that protects the integrity of the process. There will be 3 phases that are undertaken in this commission. And perhaps before I outline those, if I might just deal with the timeline of critical events which I had mentioned earlier, from the prism of which the investigation will be undertaken. The first material date is July 2018, and that is when the Political Killings Task Team was officially launched. And what is important to understand about that is that there was an ad hoc interdisciplinary unit within the SAPS which was tasked with investigating political killings with an operational focus in KwaZulu-Natal that later extended nationally. Chair and co-commissioners, you will hear evidence. Sorry, Chair, I'm being asked to stop for a second so that the timeline can be projected.
Shouldn't
Yes. Should I just proceed?
please just proceed? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, after July 28, the next date of significance is June 2019, where the Political Killing Task Team adopted an integrated model where the Director of Public Prosecutions in KZN assigned a dedicated team of prosecutors to the task team, which resulted in the task team being a multidisciplinary team that incorporated prosecutorial guidance. Then the next event is the 17th of April 2024, where Mr. Armand Swart, an engineer in Vereeniging, was murdered. This high-profile assassination served as a catalyst for a wider investigation that would reveal far-reaching connections within the criminal underworld and expose insidious infiltration of law enforcement by criminal syndicates. 3 suspects were arrested at Q, in Bramley on the same day, including one Mr. Michael Puletau, Sub-Detective Branch, Johannesburg Central. And it is alleged that it is those 3 suspects that murdered Mr. Swart. The suspects were found in possession of firearms, which was linked to the murder. Then the next date of significance is the 30th of June 2024, when Mr. Senzo Mchunu was appointed as the Minister of Police with effect from the 3rd of July 2024. Then we move to the 6th of August 2024, where a request was received for urgent safeguarding of the investigating officers of Swart's murder following Detective Tau's release on bail. Then, Chair and members of the Commission, the next relevant date is the 10th of August 2024, where one Katiso Molefe was identified as a person of interest in Swart's murder. Then 30 August 2024, there was a request for the task team members to assist Gauteng Organized Crime Unit with the investigation. The 10th of October 2024, 10 task team members arrived in Johannesburg to assist in terms of the request that I alluded to earlier. The 6th of December 2024 is the next material date, and on which the investigation team, assisted by the task team, conducted 2 operations for different reasons. The first being the takedown and arrest of Mr. Katiso Molefe and the execution of a search and seizure warrant at the property of Mr. Vusimuzi Ket Matlala. And part of what will be dealt with in the evidence is alleged political interference, which was noted by JMPD and DPCI during the said operations. And again, I must emphasize, these are allegations. 30 December 2024 is the next event. The task team's ballistic analyst compiled a ballistic report that linked weapons seized during the SWART murder investigation to 4 high-profile murders, including the murder of DJ Somebody, DJ Vintos, and the attempted murder of Tebogo Tobejane. Then, on the following day, the 31st of December 2024, Minister Mchunu issued a directive that the task team be disbanded with immediate effect. 27 January 2025 is the next date of relevance, on which Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi appeared on EWN, where he made for the first time allegations of political interference and criminal infiltration in SAPS and in the criminal justice system. And on the 5th of March 2025, the General appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on the Police, where he repeated allegations of political interference and criminal infiltration in SAPS and the criminal justice system. Then on 26 March 2025, 118 under investigation dockets, which were being investigated by the task team, were handed over to Lieutenant General Sentumule on the instructions of Lieutenant General Sibia. The 2nd of April 2025 is the next material date, being the date on which Katiso Molefe's bail application was refused. Then we move to the 10th of April 2025, and on that day, 3 additional dockets, which were still under investigation by the task team, were handed over to SAPS head office on the instructions of Lieutenant General Sibia. And chair and members of the commission, you'll recall earlier on I spoke about the 118, and if you add these 3, that's how we get to the 121 dockets. Then on 13 and 14 May, we outlined 2 material events. On the 13th, Medicare 2420 District PTY's contract with SAPS was cancelled. And chair and members of the commission, this is the tender or the contract that had been awarded to Mr. Ket Matlala. 14 May, Mr. Ket Matlala was arrested. His cell phone records.
Luke, what's going on over there?
I'm doing the work. I'm doing everything.
You're way too scattered.
Chair, those applications, or that application, or those applications, perhaps I should put it in plural form, will be made before the Commission if and when the need arises, and the Chair will rule on those, depending on whether a proper case has indeed been made out to justify part of the evidence being heard in camera. And the significance of this is that transparency and openness is the default position. And hearings are intended by their very nature to be open to the public. But a fair balance needs to be struck between the interest of the public to access the entirety of the information and to hear the entirety of the evidence that is being presented, tested against or weighed against the work that is currently ongoing. It should be borne in mind that the criminal justice system is still functioning. Its work has not been halted on account of the establishment of a commission of inquiry. Thus, it is important that sensitive and confidential information that threaten the integrity of those ongoing investigations be borne in mind. And during this phase again, the Commission will also hear evidence from witnesses who will corroborate the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. These witnesses will include, but are not limited to, the National Commissioner, General Masemola, being the person to whom Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was reporting. Evidence of members of the task team will be heard. Detectives involved in the investigations will testify. Prosecutors and other various experts will testify during this phase. And importantly, evidence will be led during this phase by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi to indicate the steps, if any, that he took internally and perhaps even externally to report these allegations prior to going public. In other words, are the three events prior to the media briefing the only ones, or are there additional steps that he took? And if so, what are they? How did he take those steps? With whom did he communicate? And did those people act on them or not? Then the next phase, which is phase 2, and in this phase, the Commission will proceed to rigorously test the evidence and, where applicable, assess rebuttals to the allegations presented in phase 1. And in this phase, phase 2 that is, individuals and institutional representatives implicated by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and the statement and his evidence that he would have given, and persons such as the suspended Minister of Police will be invited, or if necessary, compelled to come and appear before the Commission and provide testimony. This phase is dedicated to objectively examining the allegations and allowing those named a fair opportunity to offer their explanation and to refute the claims made against them. Each will be called upon to address the specific matters relevant to their conduct, whereafter the Commission will evaluate the evidence having regard to the principles that guide how commissions operate in the interrogation of that evidence. And the last aspect to mention is that there would be cross-examination that is allowed during the second phase, because that is the testing of the allegations phase, for lack of a better description. Then the third and final phase of the hearings will be the phase in which the Commission will once again hear from Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. So he will be recalled. And during that phase, other key witnesses will also be called to address the perspectives and counter allegations that is presented by those implicated during the preceding phases. This phase will provide Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi with an opportunity to respond directly to any conflicting accounts, clarifying points of contentions, and where necessary, offer additional evidence or context. And importantly, during this phase, should there be any aspects where it is clear that there are errors or omissions that were made when allegations were raised by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, this would be an appropriate juncture for which those will be dealt with. And the last point to make in respect of phase 3, it is to mention the point that it will allow the credibility of the version of General Mkhwanazi viewed against those that he is accusing and or that he would have referred to be interchangeably assessed and evaluated, given the last opportunity of reply that he has. Then, lastly, before the conclusions, Chair, the timeline, I've dealt with it slightly earlier. We know that in terms of the terms of reference, the President has stipulated that a preliminary report should be furnished to him in 3 months, hopefully with actionable recommendations that would come from the Commission. And it is important to then stress the agency versus the unlawful hindrance of the Commission's functions, because the repercussions of any of those steps will negatively impact the Commission's ability to meet the tight deadline that has been set out by the President. Chair, with that being said, and subject to 2 things that I'm going to mention, the Commission is ready to lead its first witness, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. And the 2 things that I was going to mention, Chair, is the first one is, may we request a brief 5-minute adjournment to allow the team to set up and for the General to come and take his place, to give that. And the second aspect, Chair, is I need to leave and to consult with other witnesses in preparation of the witnesses that are lined up. And if I may, please be excused, Chair, together with the juniors that we're working with.
Chief Evidence Leader, thank you very much for the opening address, and yes, you are excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the Commission.
Before we take the 5-minute adjournment, may I just announce the following. We will take a tea break at 11:30. That will be for 15 minutes, so it will be up to 11:45, and we'll break for lunch at 1 p.m. and resume at 2 p.m. and we will adjourn for the day at 4 p.m. From tomorrow onwards, hearings will commence at 9:30, and because of the earlier start, the tea break will be at 11 instead of 11:30. May we take the 5-minute adjournment.
Mkhwanazi.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chair. General Mkhwanazi, next to you, you should have two files, a small file and a big arch lever file. If you look at the spine of the files, the one is written file 1, the other is written file 2. File 1 contains a single document, which is a statement, and file 2 contains the annexures to the statement. Do you have those before you?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Before we start, for the record, General, do you confirm that you have prepared and intend to submit a statement to this commission in respect of the issues that this commission is inquiring into?
That is correct. I did prepare a statement.
I would like to refer you then to file 1, the small file, and you consider that document.
That is correct. I did prepare a statement.
I would like to refer you then to file 1, the small file. And in particular, you go to the last page of that document, which should be page 100. At the bottom of that page is a signature. Above, and your name, Nhlanhla Sibusiso Mkhwanazi, is dated the 16th of September, 2025. Would you confirm whether or not that is your signature above that name?
Yes, Commissioner, I can confirm it is my signature.
Do you confirm, therefore, for purposes of this hearing, that the document contained in file 1 does constitute your statement to the committee? Would it be volumes 1 and 2 of the commission?
It doesn't really matter. You can call them file 1 and file 2, whatever you prefer. Okay. Or for them, yeah, you may use the general's initials and some corners. Thank you.
General Mkhwanazi, I know you'll be touching on these issues later on, but I suppose at the start of this hearing to perhaps address some protocol issues. Your position within the South African Police Services is that of Lieutenant General, correct?
That is correct.
Would it be appropriate to refer to you as General Mkhwanazi, or are we required to use your full title of Lieutenant General?
In terms of the police regulation, as we address, we call it general. So you're welcome to address me as general.
Thank you, General. Then if I may invite you to page 5 of file 1, which is page 5 for your statement. Could you very briefly introduce yourself to the commission and for the record, indicating when you joined the police force and your progression through the force from when you joined till date?
Commissioner, I did not join, I joined the force, you're correct. That was in 1993, which then translated into the service in 1995, when the dawn of democracy started in our country. I joined the service in 1993, June, when I underwent training at the police college in Pretoria. And from there, I was deployed to go and work in Potchefstroom. At the time, the unit was called Internal Stability Unit. In 1993, when December, after my training, which the name then later changed into Public Order Policing Unit. And from Public Order Police Unit, Potchefstroom, I moved to Durban, Public Order Policing Unit. That is when I joined the Special Task Force from Durban. I attended a training in the Special Task Force in 1998. And from there, I worked at the unit, the Special Task Force Durban, until 2001. In 2001, I moved to Pretoria, where I assumed command of the Pretoria unit, Special Task Force. And from there, I became the deputy head of the task force and subsequent to that promoted to the overall command of the Special Task Force in 2005. And from there, I moved to become a head of specialized operations that includes the Air Wing, the Special Task Force, the NIU, TRT, and other units that are tactical in the South African Police Service. And from there, I became the acting national commissioner. From the position of acting national commissioner, which was a couple of months, just less than a year, I spent the whole year after that enjoying time sitting at home without the post. And subsequent to that, I was then deployed to be the head of facility management in the South African Police Service. And from there, I became the head of the training section of the police, which is a division that is referred to as Human Resource Development. And from Human Resource Development, I was deployed in KwaZulu-Natal to go and act in the period 2018 until 2019. And from there, I moved back to the head office under the Division Operational Response Service, where I worked until 2021. That is when, in April, I assumed my responsibility of being the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal. So that is a position I'm currently occupying.
May I refer you to file 2? And in particular, I would like to draw your attention. I would like to draw your attention to Annexure MK3 that appears in file 2 from page 13. Oh, apologies. I'll start again. I do apologize. Apparently, my mic was off, so I wouldn't have been on record. So, General, I refer you to the file 2, and in particular to page 135. It's a document marked Annexure MK3, and that is your curriculum vitae. Insofar as your educational background is concerned with reference to that document, could you please highlight some aspects thereof?
Thank you, Commissioner. According to the curriculum vitae and the information that I know is that I finished my matric at the high school, Siyahlomula High School in Pietermaritzburg in the township of Ashdown. And from there, I conducted my tertiary studies at the technical